There was a really crazy quote though that Netanyahu had said.
Just one?
Yeah. No, a freshie that was like really like, oof. It was, we've just begun. We're going to change the Middle East.
Ooh, I like that.
I knew you would.
Oh, do you like the Middle East the way it is now? Are you a big fan of that? I think it needs a little change.
I'm not allowed to go to quite a few places.
But the
mechanism of change matters.
It'll be us doing the change.
Of the Middle East. Hope and change. Look,
yeah, but Taylor's like,
Taylor.
yeah,
I'm
right.
ready to go. Aren't you?
You know, if there's one thing I know, it's that bringing in the U.S. military into the Middle East to fix them works great.
Are you pussy?
Yeah, and the best part about it, cheap as can be. You don't wreck your economy for decades doing it.
Wreck it? It's gonna set a fucking fire under the boiler. Do you know what a real war would do to our economy? Do you know how the inflation? Oh my God. It would be great, Taylor. It would be great. Who do you think's making those bombs? Do you think we don't outsource
you
that?
You can't let the rest of the world know what type of soldiers you'd be sending out, though, in this day and age. They can't. It's like Russia. Russia came to war, and everyone's like, wait, I don't know if you guys think you have it like you had it. If, like, the U.S., like, came out, like, Gen Z, Zoomers, Gen Alpha, the iPad kids, oh, my God. It could be really... People would be like, hold on. That whole country is fucking retarded.
Wait a minute. You think the iPad kids can't win? That's how they fight now. These guys are better with an Xbox controller than the Ukrainians.
I guess it's all drones. It would be all drones.
Right?
How many boots on the ground?
They're gonna wreck house.
Didn't they just send like a couple hundred, or not 100, like 20,000 or something more troops to the Middle East?
Pish posh.
Oh.
The
Israel?
US?
A small security force.
A small security force. I don't know. But it was like 1 week after Kyle's like, there's not going to be American boots on the ground.
Security force.
There aren't going to be American boots on the ground in Iran. Don't you dare twist my words, you propagandist, you anti-Zionist. What's the opposite of a pig? Goat?
What's the opposite of a pig? How do you get there? How is that the opposite of a pig?
You need a really clean flying animal.
They're so similar in most ways.
Nah, it's a butterfly. Continue.
No, there it is. The U.S. is sending a small number of additional troops to the Middle East in response to a sharp spike in violence.
That's right. Small.
Major General Pat Ryder, Pentagon press secretary, would not say how many more forces would be deployed or what would they would be tasked to do. The U.S. now has 40,000 troops in the region.
Let's go.
So it seems like some boots are on the ground region.
I don't know why you're so anti-war. It's
no. I saw in the debate. There's no boots on the ground.
Yeah, there's no boots on the ground, man. Except for all the boots on the ground.
The one thing about war,
there's none.
Something about war and all
where
this
are
stuff
those
going
boots
on.
though? Aren't where like I think that matters, right? Look, I don't like that there are more Americans required to go. I bet there's not 20,000 Americans in Syria. Like it
might be 2,000, 1,400.
Yeah, it's a couple thousand. Woody's right.
Yeah.
Well, they're fighting ISIS,
a mere
right?
battalion.
I think they're like there in case. I don't think they're actually shooting their guns.
They're fighting ISIS. That's what they've been doing there for a while.
The U.S. just has to be everywhere because that's what they do. That's literally the U.S. is all over the world. There's army bases all over the world, and like a place like Israel, they're just like, oh, free army base. We don't even have to put soldiers. If you think about it like resources and like you're playing an RTS, you conquer that like neutral area. Then it's just your boys are there, and it like kind of works on its own. You don't even have to put money into it. You put a lot of money.
You put enormous.
You don't have to put you don't have to put soldiers into it. You don't have to fill that barracks. It like makes its own. It's different. You know.
This Ukrainian thing has been
debuffs.
Great. The Ukrainian thing has been great for us. It's been great for all the freedom loving peoples of the world. I saw that Russia's army just surpassed us, and they're now the second largest army because they've called up so many poor people.
Yeah.
They've called up. They're throwing so many people in. It's absurd.
They surpassed us.
He killed a lot of Russians with this call.
Is China the biggest?
Yeah, no, India, right?
Probably India. If it's just boots on the ground, right? But you got to get them somewhere, and nobody can get people anywhere.
Ukraine also showed the world that like, oh, look what happens when your country has guns. When you have guns and someone comes to invade your country, it actually makes a difference that every door that's kicked down potentially has a guy there with a gun who shoots the first person. Now the next guy goes in and does it, but like the next house, they're all like, you knock. No, you knock. It's your turn. You don't want to knock on these doors because everyone has a gun. And in the US, like that's like another thing is like it would never No one's ever, it would never be an invasion like that. They always said that if the US was invaded, I think the saying was that like California would allow them in, like if the country
Right.
ever got invaded.
The other thing about the guns, like it matters how you invade a country, right? If you invade it and you like liberate it and you make it nice, then maybe not every gun is trying to kill you. But if you go in there and you steal the children and you rape the women, everyone who lives there now is your enemy.
Well, you know, but like I look at like Canada. I love Canada. I think Canada is great. You know, man, the history of Canada is recent. It's recent that, you know, they had these fucked up schools that they were making, you know, Aboriginal First Nation kids go to and trying to like make them forget who they are and everything.
Civilize
like that.
them.
Yeah, exactly. This is like fresh. Like I'm looking back on this because, you know, like I'm looking at all the Middle East stuff and it's like I'm Jewish, so it's like, what? How do you start?
You're living in Eskimos, bro.
I think about that. I'm like, dude, I'm let me think about like the land that my house is built on and how it got here. That's not that long ago. It's like very recent, like a couple of generations. It's like a couple of generations, exactly, like a couple of generations. Okay. You know, like this is like, and the issues with it like are so recent that I'm like, damn, you know, I probably have like a closer connection to that than in the Middle East in terms of concept and perspective and how it literally affects me. You know what I mean? But you know, it's just everywhere we go, humans, like it's like people are like, oh, I'm not going to do a concert there because this country they did this and that over this many years ago. And it's like, okay, don't do a concert anywhere there, pal. Like everywhere is humans. Everything was conquered or lines drawn or sacrifices made or things like, you know what I mean? Everywhere in the world. It's just like, what kind of world do you want in the future? What do you want in the future? And I personally I like mostly compared to everywhere else, places like the USA. I like how it is. I liked how, you know, Canada was growing up. And I'm happy. Like I have a ton of Indian people that live on my street. I'm cool with that. I don't have an issue with that or anything. What's that?
Feathers or dots?
Dots.
Okay. That'll do.
And like, you know, like there, like that stuff like doesn't bother me at all. You know, and I'm happy with it. It's just like, do you want to come and be in this country or do you want this country to be where you're coming from? Because I don't want this to be that. You can't make over there over here, bro. Are you really trying to make over here there? You can't make there over here.
You came over here because it's nicer than over there.
So don't make here there. You know, you're here's here.
So
you
leave like there at the fucking door and start being a Canadian
bringing
stand.
That there in here. Don't you dare be bringing that there in here.
Don't you dare be bringing that there in here. We got a nice thing going on here. We don't need that there over here.
But rest assured, Mrs. Woodworth, that not all of us are traitors.
She's gonna trade us.
You know, I'm gonna let you know right now, Israel's done the right thing every step of the way. That maybe a little heavy-handed, maybe also a little heavy dog dick. But when you're fighting a war, you know, bad shit happens. All right,
that's what she would say.
Kyle, you've been different ever since you went on that birthright trip.
When I put my hand on that,
they gave you some big titty Jewish gal.
It's true. It's true.
That's all it was. Honestly, if there was a big titty Palestinian gal, I might be swayed back the other way. Like,
hey, he's looking pretty good on that
shows up next week in a fucking balaclava and a headband.
Yeah,
I've seen new facts in the form of big heavy tits.
You like just have big tits,
Palestine, free Palestine,
big tits hanging over each shoulder, and you're like, Inshallah.
Yeah, I really do. Look, the only things that I haven't liked, I felt like they killed a lot of civilians that they didn't need to kill, or they could have done things differently. And I know the U.S. would have done things differently. We just sent more like special forces in. Or we'd have done like a Fallujah type thing where you go door to door with a big force of 50,000 men and, you know, you'd lose a lot of people like we did, but we wouldn't have blown up blocks. I didn't like that. I didn't like when it seemed like they directly targeted that aid group. They were in like white trucks with like crosses on the roof and you could see the missile went like through the middle of the cross. It was
she had an explanation for that.
What?
She said that they had stopped the aid group before it arrived in its destination, like overrun, so they had to go.
Oh, well,
she said they what?
Basically,
I stand corrected.
There was a place the truck was supposed to get to, and it didn't get all the way there, or something. Like it was being overrun. So, I mean, you got to nuke it. It's your only choice.
They blew it the fuck up. And I want to say, I didn't realize, Israel could afford the best of the best, but they fly around on F-35s.
Can Israel afford it, or do we kind of take care of that?
Well, a little bit of column A, little column B. All right,
it's a lot of column B.
I mean, they're like $150 million a piece or something like that. I doubt we gave them all to them, but yeah, Taylor, I know we give them too much money. Yeah, I'm just learning that
you give
today,
it, but you like count it as like the money. You're like, we're marking that down in the ledger. By the way, we're not putting 2 planes. We're putting the cost of the planes. It's like no, put the planes. Just put three planes. They're like, no, we're gonna put the cost. How much are each of those?
If Taylor was operating the spoon at the homeless soup kitchen, it'd be a hungry night. It'd be a hungry night.
It'd be all half full bowls of broth.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Well, I mean, at least that'd be feeding Americans.
Slap Rufus's fucking bowl out of his hands. You know what?
I'd be doing? I'd be carving up a delicious roast, and I'd go, "Here's the Israel money, guys," and they'd be going, "We'll follow you to the ends of the earth." And I go, and then I have a homeless band behind me. We conquer as we go, a Spartacus-style slave revolt.
Make it suckling pig. That way you can root out any infiltrators.
Yes, you know what?
They used to do that. They did that in Spain.
I go, hey, before you join the club, eat this bacon cheeseburger.
There was a bunch of Jews that were hiding in Spain way back in the day, and like it was in a predominantly Jewish area, and they got run out. So a lot of them just started to pretend they weren't. So people would invite their neighbors over for pork, and like they did it to root them out. And it's so funny because I'm just like, damn, like God wouldn't understand if you ate a little pork.